I am coming to you today from land that was stolen from its traditional owners. This is Darug country, and this place is called Parramatta. It's Nidok Week. Happy Nidok Week out there. And today we are going to do some yoga that is about dealing with trauma and grief and stress, because here in Sydney, it's a pretty stressful time right now, mostly because of the things that we know that we're missing out on and can't do that we would normally be able to do. So when we move through this class today, it's really important to use the props to make yourself as comfortable as you can be, because we're trying to make everything easier for ourselves. So if we can do that through our class and through our practice on our mat, it's going to become second nature away from our mat. That's the idea anyway. And the qualities I want us to focus on today are sukha, the easy way, the softness, the grace. So we want to think about moving like we're moving through water, nothing sudden, nothing sharp. And we want to make sure that our sensation in our body is really smooth as well, that there's no sudden sharp sensation. So we're going to treat ourselves with a lot of care. So let's get started. We're going to come into child's pose to begin today. I'm going to move my things out of the way. So child's pose, I've got wide knees, my heels are right underneath my hips. And if we can use our fingertips to extend our arms forward and find space through the shoulders, the more we use our fingertips rather than our flat hands, the better we can create space through the neck and the shoulders. So once we just get comfortable with where our child's pose is at today, I'm going to actually change it a little bit. If you find that your hips are lifting off your heels, fill the space. Pop the cushion between your bottom and your feet. And if you have a block or another cushion active around, I actually want us to use that today to give your head a rest. So we do a lot of thinking when we're not able to do as much movement in life as we normally would. Our head gets really overactive. So we're going to literally give our head a break. We're going to take that pillow and that cushion and pop it underneath us anywhere that's comfortable, where the neck is nice and long and the chin is drawing in, and extend the arms forward. And then I just want you to notice how you feel. Are you comfortable? Do you notice any space in your body that is uncomfortable? And if you can already, even here in this child's pose, notice any spaces that are tense or tight or holding on, just use your breath in as an invitation and a breath out to let that holding, that sense of tightness, just gently release. And it might take a few breaths to actually feel that happen, but over time, just using breath and awareness of tightness, you can gradually affect change. You can let it go. I notice the spaces in the backs of the ribs along your back. See if your breath in can create more space between the ribs. Notice as that space decreases as you exhale. This is a really natural and easy way to start our yoga practice when it's about dealing with our grief, our sense of loss, because we want to curl in when we're going through that process. And with your next breath, see if you can create space between the bottom of your ribs and your hips, and if that space can start to round. And as you breathe out, drawing the belly button in, feeling your body melt more closely to the ground. That noise is me gradually pushing my block further away under my head as my body relaxes into child's pose. Just a couple more breaths here. Noticing how long the back of the neck, how long the spine is to the tailbone. Breathing into that length. And allowing the hips to drop into the cushion and the feet as you breathe out. Just try and allow your jaw and your face to relax as we breathe in. Letting all the stress in the face go, breathe out. And then bringing the hands back underneath the shoulders. Let the head roll forward first before we slowly press through the arms and come up to sit. And just moving the block out of the way, making sure it's still handy. I'm going to take the cushion away from underneath the feet and come to find all fours. I'm going to move between action and stillness quite a bit today. So once we find our all fours, find a breath in from the tailbone to the top of the head. And as you curl the tailbone under, round the spine, release the head down, breathe out. And then we melt the belly to the floor, the heart gently forward, the chin forward, breathe in. And as we curl back into cat pose, breathe out. Finding very gentle arch, not forceful as we inhale. And an easy and smooth transition back as we exhale. And coming back to what I said at the beginning of our practice, finding that sense of moving through water. One more breath in. Empty the lungs completely. And come back to that easy tabletop as we inhale. We're going to cross the right foot on top of the left behind us and press back through the hands. We need to come all the way back onto our bottom and then shift our feet forward until our ankles are under our knees. That's a tricky way. This is supposed to be a comfortable seat, right? Now, if already it's really difficult to sit up super straight with crossed legs, use the cushion or the block under your bottom. It's going to really help you to sit up and find a lot of length through the spine. So when we're dealing with things not going our way, it's hard, right? We get that forward posture that we get anyway from sitting at our desk for a long period of time. But we also, our body is literally working harder to keep our chin up because we're struggling. So all the muscles in the back body get really, really overworked. So we're going to take our easy seat, it's supposed to be a comfortable and easy seat, and place the block in front of us. And see if you can start to walk your arms forward. And again, if this is really challenging, you can always add a second cushion or a second block underneath your bottom. So from the very tip of the tail to the top of the head, take a breath in. And try to relax the shoulders down as you fold, breathing out. Again, coming forward a little bit further as you inhale. And melting as you exhale. Now, again, we want to give our head a rest. The purpose of this practice is to help us switch the brain off. So your block or another cushion can come and support your forehead here. And that can be in any orientation that's useful to you. Cool. You might have the block face up. You might have the block face down. Or the cushions stacked, one on top of the other. And then I automatically turn my palms upwards, but it's not really genuine to what I need right now. What I need is to be centered and grounded. So I'm going to turn my palms over and press them into the earth to give myself that grounding. You can choose what's right for you. And again, once we arrive here in this forward fold, just breathing nice and slowly. There's no hurry. The next breath is always going to come to you. That's what your body does to keep you alive. So you might as well take your time with this really basic process. Choose to slow down. Once we've emptied this exhale, we're going to start with the hands, bring them back towards the knees, and gently push the hands down through the ground. Let the head roll in as we roll up through the spine. Cool. So we're going to change the cross of the legs and do this again on the other side. So I'm going to take one foot, my right foot was underneath, and I'm switching it to the front. This feels really awkward for me. So you have to do both sides in the easy seat. And bring my block again in front of me. So we're going to start by lengthening the spine away from the tail. And that's going to continue all the way up through the ribs to the top of the head. You can let your eyes close if that feels good for you here. Let's take a breath in. And release the shoulders back a little as you breathe out. Bringing the hands forward. As you walk the arms out, try and keep the chest up. So we're going to let the head and the body melt forward gradually, but we want to create length first, because if we're letting this round too soon, that's what we've been doing naturally and habitually for the last week and a couple of days. So we want to try and start to change that patterning, change the sequencing, lengthening as we breathe in and gradually moving in a little deeper as we breathe out. You can do that again. And exhale. And then finding the block and making sure all the cushions and making sure that the head is supported. Now, don't worry if you don't go very deep into this pose or any pose today. The point of yoga is not to realize like the deepest and most extreme expression of any of the postures. The point is actually to find the deepest connection to yourself and to be able to be happy with whoever that is. And so we're trying to remember that it's not like all the crazy splits that we see on Instagram. It's not really the intention of yoga. It can sometimes be a wonderful byproduct that people can enjoy, but it's not the point. It's a side effect. Again, relaxing the face. Just scanning your body from the top of the head through the spine, noticing how you feel. And if you are starting to notice that your hips are giving you a bit of sensation, it's also the point of this posture. So sitting with our legs crossed, folding forward, we're starting to release some of the emotions that we've been holding in these hips. In my yoga teacher training, we were told that these are your emotional change pockets. So we carry around a lot of loose change when it was a more cash-based society for sure. But it gets stored up. We need to slowly sit and breathe to let it go and loosen it. And just one more breath here. Bringing the hands back towards the knees. And again, we start to press away from the earth. Let the chin drop towards the chest and gradually unravel, stacking the spine vertebrae by vertebrae, noticing how we can lift our head and hold it up a little easier now. We're going to do some breathing now that we're able to sit comfortably in our cross-legged seat. And if you want to go back to your more comfortable side of crossed legs, please feel free. I certainly will. And just make sure that we're nice and long, that we're connected. And if you feel any tension around the knees or difficulty through the thighs, you can also use your blocks and cushions to prop up the edges of the legs. I'm going to turn my hands face down on my knees. Again, I'm looking to find grounding, centeredness, and connection at every point through this practice. And breathe in as the crown of the head reaches up towards the ceiling. Breathing out as the shoulders slowly melt down. Cool. Now, the next inhale, I want you to send it low, right to the pit of the belly. And feel that breath gradually expand the belly, then the ribs, and then all the way up to the tops of the collarbones. And when you're full, pause, and slowly from the top, empty that breath out. So we'll feel the chest draw in, the shoulders sink down, the ribs gently hug in. And then finally, as we tighten the belly, that massages the last of the breath in us out. Again, taking time to fill from the bottom up. Pause at the top. And then start that process of noticing what it's like to slowly empty the breath out. And again, at the bottom, you can pause and see what it feels like to be empty. And taking time to breathe in. Seeing what it feels like to be full. Exhaling. And as you notice this space around the bottoms and the sides of the ribs on your exhale, you can gradually tighten that a little bit more actively through the exhale and expand the ribs even broader as you inhale. Full diaphragmatic breath is an amazing tool to calm your body, to slow your mind down, and to create focus and clarity through the rest of your day. One more breath in and out. If your eyes are closed, inhale, open them. I'm going to exhale, walk the hands forward. Unravel the feet until we're back into this all fours position. I'm just going to move some of my props out of the way. Find a long spine as we breathe in and really claw all 10 fingers down through the ground as you breathe out. Now inhale, find length from the top of the head to the tip of the tail. Tuck the toes, find downward dog. Exhale. Keeping my knees really bent today and keeping my stance quite short. Tailbone lifts to the ceiling, breathe in, chest pulls back to the thighs, breathing out. And I want to do that without dumping into my shoulders. I'm pushing through my arms with a strong belly. Come up onto the tiptoes, inhale, bend one knee, send the other heel down towards the ground as you exhale. Switch sides, breathe in. Switch back, breathe out. Just notice how the backs of the legs feel. You might feel that this is quite strong through the arms. You can always rest in child's pose if you need to. I want you to be really focused today on the back of the neck being long and loose, the crown of the head free to point straight down, because we're trying to give that head a rest, right? And all the muscles that work hard to keep our chin up. Come back onto the tiptoes as you breathe in, and then slowly let the heels sink down as you breathe out. Send the breath to the backs of the ribs and hollow the belly. Look forward between your hands and slowly walk your feet one at a time to the top of your mat. Great. I've still got a gap between my feet. My knees are gently spiraling outwards and they're really bent. My chin is in, the crown of the head is coming straight towards the ground. We'll take hold of the opposite elbows here and just use that to create more length and more weight to pull us forward. You can spread all 10 toes wide and then claw them into the floor. And notice the heels that counter and also pull down. The weight of the body pulling us forward and the heels balancing us, keeping us grounded. Try to relax as much as you can here. You can let your body shift from side to side. Here and in every posture, we're working to lengthen and loosen the spine. Let the hands come down to the ground, empty your breath fully, and slowly roll up to stand with the inhale. Let the shoulders slide down towards the hips as we exhale. Crown lengthening up, breathe in. Feet pressing through the floor as you breathe out. Nice. I want you to feel the arches of your feet lifting. Cool. And the thighs are really hugging up into the hip sockets. The belly is squeezing very lightly. The shoulders are reaching out, it's like the collarbones are broad and the shoulders relax down. The chin is drawing in and the crown of the head is lengthening up. So this is pretty easy, right? This is your mountain pose. It should feel really strong and really stable. But the mountain's kind of lucky. It's done all its evolving, all of its growing. It's reached its full potential. We haven't done that yet. To stay focused breath by breath, moving through the practice. It's time to move away from our mountain pose. Breathe in, stretch the arms all the way up to the ceiling. As you breathe out from the hip creases, melt down towards the ground. You want to find a long spine, so lift halfway up, inhale. And then bend the knees, press both hands down. So we're in this tiny little crouch as we exhale. We're going to step the right foot, then the left leg back into high plank. Breathe in. We control our weight to the floor. We lower the knees, the chest, and the chin. Keep your elbows hugging in. Once the feet press, it's a little cushion behind me. Once the feet press into the floor, the hips press down, the chest lifts up. Breathe in here. Now we're doing this to support our body, right? To support our heart space. So roll the shoulders a little further back as you inhale. Hug the elbows into the sides as we exhale. I'm going to create some strength by lifting the hands for one breath in. Press them back down as we breathe out. Tuck the toes, lift the belly to the back, inhale, and press all the way back to downward facing dog. Exhale. Now remember, we're a pyramid with the earth, so the tailbone is really high. We use the fingertips clawing through the floor. And breathe to the backs of the ribs. And release the back of the neck so the head is free to hang, heavy, loose, easy. Inhale, come up onto your tiptoes. Bend the knees, lower the hips. Exhale. Look to the hands, and again, walking all the way up to the top of the mat. Finding that long spine, lift halfway, breathe in. Draw the ribs in, lower the crown down. Breathe out. Arms sweep up to ceiling. Inhale. Dive straight back to the floor. Exhale. Halfway lift, breathe in. Crouching down, fingers to ground, breathe out. Step left, then right to high plank. Inhale. Lower knees, chest and chin, elbows in. Exhale. Snake it forward, lift the heart strong. Breathe in. Roll the shoulders back, elbows in, breathe out. I'm really pushing my toes strong through the floor as I lift those hands up. Breathe in here. Press them down all the way back to downward dog. Empty the breath. Now as we rest here with our relaxed neck and a heavy head, breathing in this downward dog, a familiar pose that we visit, and we pause here. The intention of pausing in our down dog is that it becomes a place where you're able to reflect on what's happening for you through your yoga practice. So what do you notice? What's changing? What's shifting? How do you feel? I'm going to breathe in, lift the heels high. Breathe out, lower the hips. Look to the hands, and then bigger steps now to the top of the mat. Find your halfway lift. This time I'm going to connect the big toes towards each other as we fold and empty. So the outer edges of the feet are parallel. Sweep the arms back behind you. We lower the hips down as the arms come forward and up. Chair pose. Take a breath in. Squeezing the knees together as we lower the hips down. Breathing out. And we're just going to use the arms to create length through the sides of the waist. Inhale. And then bring the hands into heart center, hips a little bit lower as we exhale. Great. Now, the more you press your hands into each other, the greater the space you can create through the collarbone. So feel into that, breathe into that, and see if we can take our bottom down as we breathe out. I just want you to be aware of the shape of your low back here. We want to be not flat, but really active through the low back and the low belly. So we're not tipping the tailbone away. We're not tucking it under. We're feeling this upwards lift and sweep of the belly and the low back. Now, when we come up to stand, we're going to do this in super slow motion. So empty the breath fully. We're coming up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sweep the arms up to the ceiling. Inhale. And now fold to the mat. Exhale. We're going to bend the knees as we find our halfway lift. So chest comes up, hips come down. Inhale. And step your left foot back onto its outer edge as you exhale. Now take it back as far as you can. Lengthen the chest forward as the arms slowly come up. Breathe in. This is warrior 1. And then send the edge of that left foot even further away as you breathe out. Feel both arms reach up to the ceiling. Inhale. And the front ribs draw down towards the hips as you exhale. Look up at the middle finger on your right hand. Breathe in. And slowly open both arms away in opposite directions to warrior 2 as you breathe out. You stay where you are. I'm going to flip so I can see you. Cool. So our gaze is on our middle finger on our right hand. It's our visual anchor or our drishti, which in a centering practice is actually really important. Just notice your right thigh spiraling open, sending the knee towards the third toe, and the left arm pulling back gently so that we're broad and open through the collarbones. Take another inhale here. Relax the shoulders. Exhale. Turn the palm over, gently reverse so that right arm is reaching up towards the ceiling. The left arm can either bend behind your back or slide down your left thigh. Take another inhale. And cartwheel your hands to the top of the mat as you exhale. Left heel lifts up. We're going to step that left foot forward. Exhale fully. Halfway lift, breathe in. Right foot's turn. So we're going to step the right foot back on its outer edge. Breathe out. Both arms stretch up to the sky. Inhale. And press the edge of the right foot away. Nice strong leg. Exhale. And keep the lift of the armpits up towards the ceiling. Breathe in. But this gentle hugging in of the belly down towards the hips as we breathe out. Looking at the middle finger on the left hand as we inhale. And opening out to warrior 2. Exhale. Long stretch through the fingertips. Breathe in. A little deeper in the knee as we sink down, breathing out. Good. Just be mindful that you're not reaching forward. We want the head right on top of the tailbone. Another inhale here. Let it go. Turn the palm over, reverse. Inhale. Either sliding the right arm down or bending it behind the back. Exhale. Creating space through the left side of the body. Breathe in. And cartwheeling the hands back to the top of the mat. Breathe out. I'm going to step back to our high plank. Inhale. Lowering the knees, chest, and chin down as we exhale. Toes press to the floor. Lift the hands, lift the heart. Fill up. And then tuck the toes, send the hips back to downward facing dog. Empty. We've been practicing finding this place over and over again. So as at the soonest possibility, take the opportunity to tune in and check how you're feeling. What's changing? Noticing your breath and using your awareness of your breath to keep you present to your practice. One more inhale. And let it go. Heels lift up, breathe in. Hips drop down, breathe out. Look to the hands, big steps to the top of the mat. Big toes touch, knees squeeze together, halfway lift. Inhale. Take the chin in, crown towards the ground. Exhale. Finding your chair pose, arms up, breathe in. Hands to heart, lower down, breathe out. Collarbones open, inhale. Ribs to hips connected, exhale. Take one more breath in. Sink a little deeper as we breathe out. And we're going to slowly rise for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, the arms come up. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees as we lift halfway. Inhale. This time we'll start with the edge of the right foot stepping far away as we exhale. Warrior one, the arms come up, breathe in. Pushing the foot away as we breathe out. Looking to the left middle finger, inhale. Open body to the side, exhale. Left arm comes up towards the ceiling, breathe in. Hands cartwheel to the top of the mat, breathe out. Step your right foot forward, lift halfway with knees bent, inhale. Step the left foot back onto its outer edge, exhale. Warrior one, arms up, fill up. Press the foot away, empty. Look at the right middle finger, inhale. And open it to warrior two, exhale. Chest open. Legs strong. Reverse the warrior, breathe in. Hands return to top of mat, breathe out. Stepping back to our high plank, inhale. Slowly moving through water as we move towards the floor, exhale. Chest up, hands up, breathe in. And gliding back to downward dog, breathe out. 3 breaths here. Now, for those of you with 2 arms and 2 legs, I'm going to cue this the way that is easiest for you. This is not easy for me. I generally fall over when I try and do this, but I'm going to make it work the way that's easiest for you. So we're going to step the left foot closer to the right foot and come up onto the tiptoe. Breathe in. Push down through your hands, push your hips back as you breathe out. Now lift your right leg up to the ceiling. Already I feel like I'm going to fall over. Breathe in. And step that right foot through your hands at the top of the mat as you breathe out. I have to make a few adjustments there. Come up onto the fingertips. Inhale. Press the edge of the left foot down as we exhale. Bring the arms slowly back up to warrior one as we breathe in. And hopefully what you'll notice here is we've got a longer distance between the legs, right? So we're going to push that left edge down as we breathe out. Lift the arms, inhale. Connect them behind your back. Exhale. So we're going to very gently give ourselves a chest stretch. And the reason we're doing that is because when we spend time in this hunched forward, Netflix watching, iPhone scrolling position, our pecs get really short and tight. So we're going to gently open them up. I want you to feel the heads of the shoulders roll back as we inhale. And then slowly take your body weight forward. Exhale. Extend the arms overhead. Breathe in. And again, give your head a rest. Let the crown melt straight down as you breathe out. Take another breath in. Let your hands go. And then slowly come all the way back to warrior one. Inhale. And open it to the side. Warrior two. Exhale. Great. We're going to come into a triangle pose. It's a little warm up for the legs. So this right leg is going to extend, but be really careful that you don't lock into the joint. We want to gently draw all the muscles up away from the floor into the hip, and the heel and the ball of the foot are pressing down. The right arm is going to extend forward. The left arm is coming straight up to the ceiling. Take a breath in here. And then this right hand is going to rest and press down against your shin. Now, feel comfortable with using the back of your hand to open your chest a little more. Go ahead, inhale, and gently draw the shoulders back. We're still focusing on that really easy, gentle chest opening. Exhale. Sides of the waist are nice and long. Breathe in. Chin is drawing gently inwards. We're not dropping the head forward or down. We're continuing the length of the spine. Another inhale. Another exhale. Come all the way up as we breathe in. Hands onto the hips and turn your right toes in to face the left as we breathe out. I'm going to have to jump back or I'll headbutt the wall. Boom. Okay, so here we can be in really quite a wide-legged stance. We're going to open the chest just gently towards the ceiling as we inhale and fold from the hips down towards the mat as we exhale. And just as we arrive here, let the hands come down to the floor. Find the tailbone tipping up. Inhale. Relax the head down. Exhale. And for some of us today, this can be feeling like quite a lot. I really want you to think about keeping the legs nice and active. So all the muscles lifting from the inner thighs up through the legs towards the groin. And if you want to take hold of the opposite elbows to create more weight and more length, you can. That does add on the strength required of the legs. Now, also, if you have your blocks and your props handy, you can use them here to, again, give your head a rest. Taking the work out of it, resting the brain, making this more easy, making this more comfortable. One more breath, face completely relaxed as we exhale. Taking the hands onto the hips. Lengthen the spine halfway, breathe in. You might need to use your hands on the floor if you don't feel like your belly is strong enough to help with that. We're going to then curl the tailbone under as we breathe out and continue with the chest rising all the way up to stand as we inhale. Return to warrior two. Exhale. Take a breath here. Relax the shoulders. And just stay for a moment. Notice how your body feels. Reconnect to breath. And then reverse your warrior. Inhale. Cartwheel your hands to the top of the mat. Exhale. Stepping back to our high plank. Breathe in. And we're going to press straight back to downward dog here. Breathing out. Taking just 2 breaths. And relaxing the neck. And move my microphone back closer to my mouth. All right, so we're going to move that right foot closer to the left foot, lifting the heel. Inhale's going to take the left foot high to the ceiling. Breathe in. And then step that left foot all the way through the hands, breathing out. Push through the fingertips, create space in the neck. Inhale. Edge of the right foot grounding. Exhale. Belly sweeping in as arms lift up, warrior one. Inhale. Both feet pressing through the floor as we exhale. You can look up now, breathe in. Connect the hands behind the back, breathe out. Roll the shoulders back, inhale. Slowly folding into humble warrior, exhale. Extending the arms and releasing the crown of the head straight down. And this can be a pretty wobbly pose for a lot of us. So you want to really use the feet. Spread the toes, claw them down, feel the arches lifting, the balls and the heels grounding. One more breath in here. Release the hands, empty fully. Sweep them slowly back up. Remember, we're moving through water today. Warrior one, inhale. And opening out to the side, warrior two, exhale. Finding our head right over our hips, breathe in. And that connection of front rib to hip, breathing out. We're going to lengthen that left leg slowly without locking into the joint. Inhale. Reach the left arm forward as far as you can. Exhale. Now the palm of my right arm is forward as I lengthen it straight up to the ceiling. Breathe in. And then your left arm comes down for support somewhere on your left leg as you breathe out. Great. So we're in our triangle pose. Feel the collarbones spreading apart as you inhale, but still keeping the belly strong as we exhale. Really active legs here. Breathe in. Making sure the neck is long, chin tucking in. Breathe out. Coming up to stand. Inhale. Hands onto the hips, the left toes turn in to face the right as we exhale. Roll the shoulders back, heart lifts just easily, breathe in, and fold from the hips slowly down to the floor as we breathe out. Now this time, you can take your hands to the ground, again, finding a block if you have one handy to give the head a rest. You can turn the hands around and walk them through your legs as far as they will go, so the fingers face away from the toes, taking those hands as far away from you as they'll reach. And I said this at the start of our practice, but I'll say it again. Our intention today and the purpose of yoga is not to come into the deepest, full expression of a pose. It's to become more deeply connected to our sense of self. And we can do this in our wide-legged forward fold by really focusing the breath into the backs of the ribs. This is our connection to our story, our history, the stories we hold on to that create beliefs about who we are. And sometimes those beliefs don't let us be our favorite self. Sometimes we hold on to story and belief that take us away from being our favorite version of the person we are. Just be really conscious of that as you spend time breath by breath here. Your exhales can be releasing the stories that stop you from being your favorite version of you. One more breath. And let it go. Walking the hands forward, slowly lifting the chest up as we breathe in. Taking the hands onto the pelvis, tucking the tail as we breathe out. Really strong legs as we lift the chest. Inhale. And returning to our warrior two as we exhale. Remember, our drishti is on our left middle finger. So we're working really hard to choose our focus today. It's so easy to get distracted by everything going on around us that we need to be very intentioned and purposeful, that we choose where we direct our attention and our energy. Reverse your warrior, inhale. Take both hands to frame the foot at the top of the mat, exhale. Step back to your high plank, breathe in, and press back to your down dog, breathe out. Taking a few breaths here. Making sure the neck is relaxed. Noticing how we feel, what's shifting, what's changing. And just accepting where we're at, wherever that is. Going to lift the heels, breathe in, bend the knees and bring them all the way to the ground as we breathe out. And again, crossing the feet, lift the chest, inhale, push through the hands until you're in a seat as you exhale. So the good news is the hard work is done. Yay. We're going to move into a seated staff pose here. It's sometimes called Dandasana in yoga. So I want you to really switch your toes on, pull them back towards your nose and send your heels away. And if you can't sit with your head right over your hips, totally fine. Just again, put the block or the cushion under your butt to help make this easier for you. We're going to take a variation of staff pose. It's Western forward fold. So we're going to bring the block or the cushion to between the legs in this kind of orientation. Sometimes this pose is called head on knees, and I don't want you to think about head on knees. I want us to think about the head moving towards the toes. So take your hands wherever they'll rest easily on the ground to support you. Lift the chest as you breathe in. Hollow the belly as we breathe out. Now from the hip creases, lengthen the whole torso forward as we inhale, and then soften the round, slowly fold forward as we exhale. Again, we want to find length through the back body as we breathe in, and folding gently forward as we breathe out. And you can go through that practice one more time if you like. And then bringing whatever support you can underneath the crown of the head, palms facing down. Still energizing those heels, lifting the toes up. Make sure the shoulders are melting and softening away from the ears. Tuning in and steadying the breath. Slowing down. I know when we come into these places where we try not to move and we sit still, that can be really challenging. But stick with the effort of not moving, of not leaving the pose, because you've shown up, you've made it here, you've done the hardest part. Give your full attention to your practice just for these. It's like 55 minutes of your day. Keeping the face relaxed. And once you've emptied this exhale, we're going to start with the hands, shifting them back and really slowly stack the spine, one vertebrae at a time as we breathe in. And relax the shoulders as we breathe out. Now, if you can shift your hands back by your hips and find fully straight arms, I said we were going to work on staff pose a little bit. This is actually a really strong pose, but especially if you find it difficult to fold forward with a straight back, getting the right angle is going to make that so much easier over time. So pressing your palms. So often I talk about just using the fingertips, not for this one. We're going to press the palms down through the ground. Now, some people have arms that are shorter than their body. Some people have arms that are longer than their body and need to bring them forward. And if your arms are shorter, then you're going to sit them up on the blocks. So as long as you can push down into something actively, really feel the spine long as you breathe in, this little hugging inwards of the chin towards the throat. And that's how we create this straight line through the back of the neck. Feel the belly pulling in. Tailbone is straight down. It's not tucking under. It's not tipping away. It's pressing straight through the earth. Arms are active. Feet are active. Face is relaxed. All right, we're going to open the eyes if they're closed as we breathe in. I'm going to use my right foot. You can use whichever foot you like. Slowly bring it in towards your thigh as you breathe out. And if your knee doesn't quite touch the floor, which mine doesn't, you can always prop it up with the cushion or the block. It depends on how comfortable or uncomfortable it is for you. And also, if you don't feel like you move forward at all, again, you would use the cushion or the prop underneath your butt. Remember, we're trying to be as comfortable and make this as easy as possible in our practice today so that that becomes second nature away from the mat. I'm going to have another prop here for when my head gets as low as I can take it. And you might find that two cushions or a cushion folded in half is going to be more comfortable for you. Take a breath in and slowly come forward as you breathe out. We've practiced this a lot, the keeping the spine long. Moving with the breath, using it as our guide, making sure that we move delicately and sensitively into these poses to wherever our body tells us is enough. Really being respectful of those boundaries. Now, once you feel like you've come as deep as you can come and our weight is fully centered over the extended leg, I'm going to use a block because this is a nice soft block, right? If yours is cork, then I probably wouldn't use it. Or if it's a book, I would grab the cushion instead. And I'm going to keep my chin tucked in, but my spine as extended as possible as I rest my forehead on that block. And turning my palms down for centering, and at the same time, giving my brain a rest. And a doubled over cushion is just as good. Just relaxing the face. Whenever we stop in these poses, use the opportunity to scan your body one body part at a time to see if there's any tension or gripping, checking that there's a lot of space, creating as much space as you can, using your breath to assist you. And after this exhale, we're going to slowly come up. Remember, no sudden or sharp movements. And you switch sides. So we come back through that staff pose, extending the leg forward as we breathe in, chest up. And then putting the other foot in towards the groin. I need to shift a little further away from my wall. Just going to check the time. How did I run out of time already? I could teach this all day. All right, we'll finish with after this pose and come into Shavasana. That's fine. All right, with the leg extended and the foot into the thigh, we're going to make our way very gently forward. Take the time to sit up with your props, no hurry. Resting the head. And it's really normal to notice that one side of each pose, when you have these one leg at a time or one hip at a time poses, they can feel quite different on one side to the other. I know I have a lot more tightness around the outside of this left hip than the other, and we all move in different ways and create habits and patterns of movement. And that will change the sensation in our body. It's perfectly normal, natural. And once you exhale, slowly coming up, there were 3 things I really wanted to do, and I'm going to do 2 of them, okay? So we're going to do legs up the wall, and then we're going to come into Shavasana. So for legs up the wall, what I'm going to start with is taking my hip towards the wall and then turning my butt towards the wall and having my feet up the wall. My shoulders are nice and relaxed. If you feel like you're not comfortable or you want support, you can use your cushions or your blocks. And if you want to increase the effect of this, you can I push my heels into the wall and then place the block under my low back, under my bottom. And it's just a really beautiful way to change the flow of energy. Make sure your shoulders roll back into the floor, that you're pressing down through them, palms down, long neck. This calms our nervous system, tells us that we're safe, that our body can focus on all of its recovery processes. All you need to do is stay here and breathe and let that happen. Notice what you feel in the legs. Notice the support of the ground underneath the head and the shoulders. Notice the support underneath the hips. If you feel really easily connected to the floor through the shoulders and you can move your hands freely, just take your right hand onto the belly and the left hand onto your heart. And focus on breathing into the right hand before the left hand. It's when our head is overactive in these periods where we get really connected to our devices and not moving as much. Our head seems to think it's the boss of what's going on for us, and it'll tell us something different to what's real in our gut, so that space underneath your right hand, and how you feel about it, the space underneath your left hand. So with our hands connected to these places, breathing into them, we can come away from the head and be a full person again, not just a brain person, but a person that's a brain, a body, a heart. and the soul. And one more breath here. Now, if your block is underneath your bottom, or if there's cushions underneath your bottom, we're going to take the soles of the feet onto the wall, or find the hands on the ground to gently lift the bottom up. Move the block away, and then turn sideways to lie along the length of my mat again. Taking the arms and the legs out long, taking up space. And there's no rule about how much space you're allowed to take up. Like, you have every right to be here on this earth. Take up as much space as feels good for you and relax into it fully. Gravity's job is to hold us on this earth. So let it do it. Don't fight it. Give in. Let the face relax completely. And instead of controlling the breath, which we've done for a good portion of today, just let it happen. It's allowing the breath to do what it naturally does as you were programmed. As humans were coded to do. And let the feet relax fully. Let the length of the legs really drop through the floor. I want you to notice your pelvis, your hips, your butt. Let that space absolutely drop, anchor through the ground. And come to the space at the chest, the heart, the shoulders. I want you to visualize butter melting on a fry pan. In your chest, your shoulders, your heart, your arms, just melting into the ground. And your head is heavy. The jaw's relaxed. There's a lot of space between the eyebrows and the forehead. If there was any tension in your scalp, you notice it letting go. And this Shavasana at the end of our yoga practice is the time and the space that we connect with our body and our mind. Who we were and who we now are all become one. In its purest form, yoga means union, unity. And it's in Shavasana where we take the time to become one with what we've practiced. Now, you are more than welcome to stay here in Shavasana for as long as your lunch break will allow. If you do need to leave this practice, or when you decide to leave this practice, make sure you roll to one side in the fetal position and take the opportunity to nurse yourself. You've carved out this time to connect with you, so honor that all the way through to the end. And once you roll to one side, find a comfortable seat. I'm going to leave you here. You are under no pressure to leave Shavasana yet. I'm going to bring my hands to heart center, bow my head, and say thank you so much for sharing this with me today. Till next time.